This is how you turn a drop side deuce and a half into a car hauler. I drop the sides down, put the car up on a lift, back the truck underneath of it, set a set of wheels and tires underneath where I wanted it to sit on the bed. That way I could get the arms out. And then I drove the truck out. So the next thing is to get all the straps out and my tow truck hooks. I've got all of the little, oh, what do you call them? Like the multi, it's got different ones for GM and Ford, and then this one is the one I use most of the time, just to hook it into the bed. And it'll usually go right here, and then I hook a strap to it, and after the side's up I strap it to lower control arm. And then on the back, I take one and hook it in the pocket right there for the seat brace. And it's been strong enough to hold everything. Hell, I've hauled a half-ton Chevy trucks, like extended cab like that, but it was a gold one, step side. I sold the bed to one of my friends. Well, traded him for a couple things that I wanted, and he wanted the bed for his short bed, square body. So I gave him the bed, and then he gave me part of his bed, and I stuck it on the ground to keep weeds from growing up around the ass end of the car, because I still got stuff in the trunk that I want to keep. But that car is going to go to the junk too. It's got 304,000 on it, and it was my grandfather's. Pat bought it new, and I munched a deer with it and sent pieces of the grill through the radiator. So it needs a radiator, and I got a radiator for it, but it needs a marker light, headlight, grill, radiator, AC condenser, windshield, and then it needs a door and rockers and exhaust and a fucking brake line, and yeah, it ain't getting that. I'm gonna pull probably the window glass out of it, the door glass. I might keep the driver's side front door, because it's newer. It's off of an Oldsmobile. I put it on and that fender on when one of my friend's sons backed into it with his F-150, and it pushed the subframe back. It pushed the fender into the door, crinkled up the door, busted the mirror off of it, and so I put it back together with an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra door. Bought a new fender for like 80 bucks, and then had Napa mix the paint for me, and they just brought the unit out, stuck it on the car, and got the right shade. It's close. It's not perfect, but you know, for a 1992 that had 180,000 on it at the time, it really didn't matter all that much. So I like these little cars. There's another one that was my Uncle Sam's. So my daily driver is a 1990 sitting up the house. I had it down here earlier. It needs calipers and brake hoses and some other shit on it. And but I bought this car for 200 bucks just for the tires that were on it. The wheels ain't the same as my Buick, but the tires are 195/70 14s. The front two weren't that great, but the back two were damn near new. They're probably 90%. So I'll put those on the front of my car, and then I'll put the two almost worn out ones on the rear, and I'll get about the same life out of them because there's no weight in the rear end of them Buicks. Them rear tires last forever. I'll get 3 years out of a new set of tires on the rear and 1.5 years on the front. But I only drive 10-mile one way to work, and every once in a while I might go to Rural King or something over in Steubenville, and that's, 30-mile one way. But I don't take that car very far. But that's how I do this. And I started doing this when Dillonville cop was giving me a bunch of shit. I bought a real nice tow dolly, and he followed me through town, and he didn't turn the lights on until I pulled in the junkyard. And I was towing a Olds Cutlass Sierra, the one that door come off of. And he gave me a bunch of shit about if the tires are on the ground, it has to have a license plate on it. I told him, I'm not spending any more money on a vehicle that I'm junking. I said, when it was sitting in my garage here, I had a license plate on it. And he said, well, you should have left it on it. And I said, well, I have no idea what the hell it even come off of. I put it on it because people go, council members will go over to the restaurant and sit on the deck, and they look over here and they see a license plate on something. They don't say nothing. Or like that one, I got the license plate covered up with a tire. They don't know if it doesn't have a plate on it. Like the rest of them, they can't see if it has a plate on them or not. But this one I had a plate on, and it's just one that I found laying in the garage. I put a front plate on it because I had it backed in front of my 62 Nova on the trailer. And he said, you should have left the plate on it. I said, I have no idea what the hell the plate was even to. So I'd rather have a no plate ticket than a fictitious tag ticket, because that shit's serious in Ohio. No plate, it's just a misdemeanor and a fine. It's a slap on the wrist. And so he said, if the tires are on the ground, it has to have a plate. He said, you need to put it on a trailer. I said, I don't have a problem putting it on a trailer, but what I have a problem doing is borrowing somebody's car trailer, because I didn't have that one yet, and it's not done. It still needs lights, wiring, and everything else, but I've hauled cars to the scrapyard with it. So when the town cops following me and giving me an escort, I really don't care, but I've hauled stuff for him too. And so the cop argued with me. I told him, I'm not going to borrow somebody's trailer, run it through a scrapyard, and run something through a tire. I said, if it's my tire, I don't give a shit. But if it's somebody else's trailer and it's somebody else's tire, then I'm going to have to fix it in a timely manner. And I might not want to spend that money right now. Yeah, I got it, but I might not want to spend it. I might be saving it for something else. So if it's my tire, that trailer can sit here for 3 or 4 months before I decide to put a tire on it. So what I started doing was taking this 6.5 by 10 trailer that I built in 2004, and it's all 1/4 inch and C-channel and 1/4 inch angle, and it weighs like 1,400 pounds, and it's heavy for the size. It's got a 3,500 pound axle under it, and I would take a dryer or something and stick in the rear. I think I put an oven up front, and I did the same thing. I put a Grand Dam, I think a 2001 Grand Dam, up on the lift. I backed the trailer underneath of it with the washer and the stove or whatever 2 appliances were on trailer, and I set the car down on top of that, and then I just strapped it down and went on down the road. Well, lo and behold, I get to Dillonville, and he's sitting by the old car wash. He pulls out, flips the lights on, pulls me over. He goes, "What the hell is this?" And I said, "Well, somebody here told me it had to be on a trailer." I said, "It's on a trailer." And he goes, "I don't want to see shit like this on my road." And I'm like, "Hey, you told me it had to be on a trailer. You didn't say what kind of trailer." And he's like, What's your problem? Are you stupid or something?" And I said, "Actually, no. I'm just determined to screw with the system." And I said, "You can try giving me a ticket for unsafe load, but I've got 4 3,500-pound straps on it. And the car probably don't weigh 3,500. So one strap with the Federal Motor Carrier safety standards would cut it." And he just gave me a dumb look. And I said, "So you're telling me I've got 14,000 pounds of securement on it, and it's unsafe?" I said, "It's not going anywhere. I've drug it up to my house, and my road is nowhere near smooth. And then the roads that I took to the scrapyard was all back roads, county roads, twisty turny, up down hills, slips everywhere. So it was on off-camber situations and everything else, and it never moved." And I told him that I could put a strap to his cruiser to the back of that Grand Am and tow him through town with it. It's not going anywhere. And he didn't like it, and he told me he didn't want to see the shit anywhere on his road anymore. He said the next time he sees me with a car on a trailer like that, he's going to write me a ticket. And he's just being a dick. He was the same one that threatened to give me a failure to display ticket because my birthday's in end of December. And Christ, it was like 15 degrees out when I renewed my plates. And what happens to those stickers? They won't stick on that goddamn plate. And I had it in the glove box. Sticker still stapled to the registration. And it was like 2 months later, and I forgot all about it. Then he was going to give me a failure to display ticket. And I told him, well, that's kind of a dick move. And seeing as I spent the money on the shit already, and you're going to give me a ticket just because I didn't have a little goddamn 1 inch by 1.5 inch sticker on it. I said that you couldn't see from where you was sitting anyway. You didn't see it until you pulled up on me. So, and then he gave me shit about not wearing a seatbelt, and I showed him that it was, let's see, I was in that car one day and the seatbelt didn't work. It wouldn't come out the door. And he was going to give me a ticket. But bottom line is he's never ticketed me on anything. He just gave me a bunch of shit. So I've been hauling him to the scrapyard like this. And he hasn't said a word. But today is Thursday, and I know they usually have court on Wednesdays, and he works every Wednesday. But I don't know if he works Thursdays or not. So I'm going to press my luck and strap this POS down and get on the road. So all of the fluids that come out of this thing, I got probably 12 gallon of gas out of it. I drained the motor oil, I drained the transmission. The engine had a noise. So I drained all the flammable fluids and everything, put them in buckets. I'll run them through filters, and the truck will end up running on it. Too much gas, and it's hard starting and low on power. But I usually mix 5 gallon of gas to 10 gallon of used ATF and used motor oil. And then I'll top the rest off with diesel when it's almost empty, and it does real good on that. It actually seems to have more power on multi-fuel, which doesn't make any sense from what everybody tells me, but I've run it on straight diesel and it seems like it's missing something. And then I'll put 20 gallon of used motor oil in it, and it's almost like you took 3,000 pound off of it. It just runs that much better. So I'm gonna quit rambling on, strap this thing down, because scrapyard quits taking stuff at 4 o'clock and it's damn near 3 now. So I got about a 15-minute drive. So I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.